You walked out of that dealership, thinking you won. The salesman shook your hand, smiled, handed you the keys to your new Honda, and said you drove a hard bargain. And somewhere on the drive home, while you were still riding the adrenaline of a brand new car smell and the fantasy of a smart purchase, the finance manager was already calculating exactly how much extra money stayed in the dealer's pocket. This isn't a scare tactic. This is the reality of buying a car in 2026. And if you think the tricks dealers used back in 2021 and 2022 during the inventory shortage were bad, you haven't seen what they've evolved into now that the lots are full again. Here's the thing about 2026 that nobody is talking about. Inventory is back. Honda production has normalized. Honda Pilot units are sitting on lots across the country, and Honda CR-V stock has recovered to pre-pandemic levels. You would think that means leverage is back in your hands, and in theory, it should be. But what actually happened is that dealers had 3 years to perfect their extraction playbook, to learn exactly which fees confused buyers the most, which emotional triggers made people sign faster, and which office setups led to the highest F&I profit per vehicle. The inventory is back, but the greed evolved. And the 7 tricks we're going to cover today are proof of that evolution. We're going to go through all 7 of them, not as abstract warnings, but as specific documented patterns that real buyers encountered at real Honda dealerships in the last 12 months. And the one that's going to stop you in your tracks is trick number 7. That one doesn't look like a scam. It looks like a deal. It's the one that catches people who've done their research, people who watched videos like this, people who came in prepared. If you think you already know this game, stay with me until that section, because the dealers are counting on your confidence. Trick number 1, the market adjustment evolution. Let's start with the one that's been around the longest and has somehow gotten more shameless with time. You've done your research. You know the MSRP of the Honda Pilot you want. You've printed it out. You walk in, and the first piece of paper they slide across the desk has a line item you weren't expecting. Market value adjustment. $3,800 or $4,200 or whatever number the sales manager typed in that morning based on how many units were on the lot and how slow the week had been. And the salesperson will say it with complete confidence, as if this is a completely standard and rational thing. That's just where the market is right now. The Honda Pilot is one of the most capable 3-row family SUVs on the market. Its 285 horsepower turbocharged V6, class competitive cargo space, and consistently strong reliability scores from Consumer Reports make it genuinely deserving of its popularity. But here's the trap. That popularity is exactly what dealers weaponize. Because you want one, because your neighbor has one, because the reviews say it's the right call, the dealer charges you a premium for that certainty. A $3,800 market adjustment on a Honda Pilot EXL doesn't just represent $3,800 out of your pocket today. It represents $4,200 to $4,800 in depreciation you'll absorb in the first 18 months, because that adjusted price never gets reflected in the vehicle's resale value. You paid above market. The market will not remember that when you go to sell. The mathematical reality is this. The Honda Pilot burns about 28 miles per gallon combined on the highway in real-world driving, according to Fuelie owner data. At current fuel prices, that's a legitimate savings of roughly $600 a year compared to a less efficient competitor. But when you add a $4,000 market adjustment to the equation, you've just eliminated 6.5 years of fuel savings in a single stroke of the pen. The efficiency that made the vehicle attractive has been monetized by the dealer before you even leave the lot. Therefore, if you're paying a markup, the math on fuel economy over any reasonable ownership window doesn't recover. You're not buying efficiency. You're financing the dealer's margin. Trick number 2, the invisible add-ons. So let's say you pushed back on the market adjustment and they dropped it. Maybe not all the way, but enough that you felt like you made progress. You're feeling good. Then comes the window sticker. And somewhere buried between the standard features and the destination charge, there's a cluster of line items that were already there when the vehicle arrived from the factory. Paint protection, nitrogen tire fill, fabric guard, dealer-installed accessories. These aren't things you asked for. They aren't things you can negotiate away. They're already on the car, already on the sticker, and the dealer will tell you with a straight face that they're non-negotiable. Here's what those add-ons actually cost. The paint protection film, or sealant, that they're charging you $1,200 to $1,500 for, costs the dealer between $40 and $80 in product and labor, according to industry estimates reported by Edmunds. The nitrogen in the tires is a rounding error. Regular air is 78% nitrogen already, and the performance difference is measurable only in laboratory conditions. Fabric Guard is a spray can, but because these items are pre-installed, the dealer argues, sometimes legally, that they're part of the vehicle's selling price. They aren't optional. They're already on the car, and that means they've transformed a $35,000 Honda CR-V into a $36,800 Honda CR-V before a single word of negotiation has been spoken. The Honda CR-V is already one of the most competitive compact SUVs in its segment. The 2026 model brings a refined interior, Honda sensing standard across all trims, and strong owner satisfaction scores in J.D. Power's most recent survey. It doesn't need artificial value padding, but artificial value padding is not about the vehicle. It's about the dealer's gross profit per unit. These pre-installed add-ons are how dealers maintain profitability in an era when MSRP negotiation has become a YouTube-educated sport. They are designed to be invisible until you're already emotionally committed to buying the car, and by that point, most buyers absorb them rather than walk. Trick number 3, the monthly payment magician. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You sit down, and the first thing out of the salesperson's mouth isn't, "What's your budget?" It's, "What kind of monthly payment are you comfortable with?" And the moment you answer that question, the moment you say, "Somewhere around $650 a month," you've handed them the entire framework of the negotiation. Because from that point forward, they're not selling you a car. And those are two completely different transactions with two completely different financial outcomes. Here's how the monthly payment trap works in practice. A Honda Passport priced at $42,000 with $3,000 down at 6.9% APR over 72 months gives you a monthly payment of about $682. That feels manageable. It fits in your budget. But the total cost of that vehicle, the number that never gets written on the whiteboard, is $52,104 in principal and interest, not counting insurance, maintenance, and the opportunity cost of that down payment. The dealer didn't sell you a $42,000 SUV. They sold you a 6-year debt instrument wrapped in a nice vehicle, and the monthly payment was the price tag they used to close the deal. The Honda Passport is a genuinely capable midsize SUV, strong all-wheel drive system, comfortable interior, reliable powertrain. Consumer Reports has consistently rated it well for owner satisfaction, but none of that matters if the financing structure destroys the value of the ownership experience. 72-month financing on a vehicle that typically sees significant depreciation in years 3 through 5 means you will almost certainly be upside down on the loan before the halfway point. You'll owe more than the car is worth, and the dealer knew that when they structured the payment. The car is fine. The deal is not. And by hiding the total cost inside a number that fits your monthly comfort zone, they guaranteed you'd never ask the question that mattered most. Trick number 4, the F&I protection blitz. You've survived the sales floor. You pushed back on the market adjustment, you noticed the add-ons, you asked about the total cost instead of the monthly payment. You're feeling disciplined. And then they walk you into the F&I office, the finance and insurance office, and you meet someone whose entire job is to undo everything you just accomplished. This person is professionally trained in high-pressure sales. They have a script, they have objection responses memorized, and they have one goal: to sell you products that cost far more than they're worth, while you're exhausted, emotionally committed, and ready to sign. The centerpiece of this conversation will be the extended warranty, and the F&I manager's opening argument will almost always go something like this. These new Hondas have a lot of advanced electronics. The Honda Sensing Suite, the infotainment system, the lane keeping assist modules. If any of that fails outside the factory warranty, you're looking at thousands of dollars. That statement is technically true. It is also deeply misleading, because Honda's reliability record, documented by Consumer Reports over multiple years, consistently places the brand in the top tier for dependability. The Honda HR-V, the Honda CR-V, the Honda Pilot all have strong mechanical track records. The dealer is using your legitimate fear of electronics failure to sell you a $2,800 to $3,200 extended warranty that has an average consumer value that J.D. Power and independent analysts routinely calculate as negative for most buyers in most scenarios. The F&I office also produces gap insurance, tire and wheel protection, key replacement programs, and paint sealant packages, many of which duplicate coverage you already have through your auto insurance or your credit card. Each of these products carries a dealer margin of 50% to 80%. They are not bad products in every context. Gap insurance, for example, makes legitimate sense on a heavily financed vehicle with low down payment. But the pressure in that room is engineered to make you feel that declining any of it is reckless. The answer isn't to decline everything. The answer is to come in knowing exactly which products overlap with your existing coverage and which ones represent genuine risk management. Because in that office, the conversation moves fast, and the exhaustion of the sales floor is a weapon they're actively using against you. Trick number 5, the lowball trade-in shuffle. Now let's talk about the move that happens in 2 rooms simultaneously, and most buyers never notice the connection. You bring in your current vehicle. The appraiser takes it for a spin, runs the VIN, types some numbers into a screen, and comes back with an offer. It's $2,000 below what KBB says your car is worth in good condition. Trade-in value lowballing is the oldest trick in the playbook, but the 2026 version has a refinement. The dealer will often pair the low trade offer with a visible concession on the new vehicle. They'll drop the price of the Honda Pilot by $1,500 and present it as a win. And mathematically, across both transactions, you're still down $500 or more. What they took from your trade-in value is exactly what they gave back in the sales room. This is not a coincidence. It's a system. The negotiation was never about the new car price in isolation. It was a total transaction designed to look like 2 separate victories while functioning as one engineered outcome. The way to defeat it is to separate the transactions completely. Get a firm written offer from CarMax, Carvana, or a competing dealer before you walk in. Know your equity number before they try to redefine it. Because the moment you let them bundle the trade into the negotiation, you've given them a second lever they'll use without you ever seeing the hand move. The Honda Passport and Honda Pilot both hold equity reasonably well by industry standards. KBB and Edmunds data suggest both models retain strong resale value relative to the segment. The Honda Pilot, in particular, tends to command good used market pricing due to its reputation for long-term reliability. But that equity advantage only works in your favor if the dealer isn't systematically eroding it before the deal is even penciled. The vehicle's residual value is an asset you built through your previous payments. Don't let the F&I shuffle transfer it to the dealer's gross profit column. Trick 6, the forced financing requirement. You've done what every smart buyer is told to do. You went to your credit union before stepping foot in the dealership. You got pre-approved at 2.1% APR. You have a check in your pocket and you're ready to buy. And then the finance manager looks at your paperwork and says something that shouldn't be possible, but happens constantly. That rate is great, but our internet pricing, the price you saw online, is only available when you finance through us. And suddenly, the price you drove 45 minutes to get to is conditional on using interest rates that double or triple your borrowing cost. This is the dealer reserves model in its most aggressive form. Dealers function as loan originators. They submit your application to multiple lenders and earn what's called a dealer reserve, which is the spread between the rate the bank approves you for and the rate the dealer quotes you. If the bank approves you at 4.5% and the dealer quotes you 6.9%, the dealer keeps that 2.4% differential as profit on every payment for the life of the loan. On a $40,000 Honda CR-V financed over 60 months, that spread represents approximately $2,600 in additional interest extracted from your pocket. And they'll frame it as a reward for financing with them, not as what it actually is, a second profit center hidden inside the loan structure. The Honda CR-V Hybrid is worth discussing here specifically because its higher base price, starting around $32,000 for the base trim and climbing well past $38,000 for upper trims, means the financing spread becomes even more damaging. The Honda CR-V Hybrid delivers outstanding real-world fuel economy, often exceeding its EPA estimates in owner data from Fuelie, and its powertrain reliability is well documented. But those long-term savings are systematically undermined when the interest rates on the purchase are inflated by dealer reserve manipulation. The fuel savings you came for disappear into interest payments you didn't negotiate for. Always bring your own financing. The internet price should never be held hostage to the dealer's preferred lender. Trick number 7, the ghost inventory and bait and switch. This is the one. This is the trick that catches people who did everything right, who watched the videos, checked the inventory tools, got pre-approved, printed the MSRP, and drove to the dealership with a plan. This is the move that works specifically because of your preparation. Because your preparation makes you confident, and confidence makes you vulnerable to a specific kind of manipulation that looks nothing like a scam until you're already inside it. You found a Honda HR-V Sport online, MSRP $29,500, in stock according to the dealer's website. You called ahead. They confirmed it was available. You took the afternoon off work. You drove there. And when you arrive, the salesperson, with what looks like genuine disappointment, tells you that unit sold this morning, or it's being held for someone who's coming in later today, or it's actually a bait and switch unit, listed as an in-transit vehicle that exists in the system, but hasn't arrived, won't arrive for 6 weeks, and may have already been allocated to another buyer. But while you're standing there, already invested, already having made the drive, already having arranged childcare or taken time off, they have a loaded Honda HR-V EXL sitting on the lot for $36,800 that they'd love to show you. The bait and switch works not because buyers are unintelligent, but because the car buying process is designed to be exhausting. By the time you've driven to the lot, waited for the salesperson, been taken to the manager's desk, and heard about the unavailability of the car you came for, you've already invested 2 hours and significant emotional energy into this purchase. The psychological concept at work here is sunk cost rationalization. You've already paid in time and effort, and walking away feels like losing that investment. The dealer knows this. The in-transit inventory listing exists precisely to get you to the lot, and the loaded trim is positioned as the next best option once the base model has conveniently disappeared. And here's what makes this trick number 7 instead of trick number 1. The buyers who fall for it hardest are the ones with the most information. They research the Honda HR-V. They know the specs. They know the Honda HR-V is consistently rated among the most practical subcompact SUVs in its class by Consumer Reports, with strong predicted reliability and a thoughtful interior layout that punches above its price point. They drove to the dealership because their research told them this was the right vehicle. And that conviction, that earned conviction, becomes the thing the dealer weaponizes. You didn't surrender to impulse. You surrendered to exhaustion after being manipulated into a position where the in-transit bait vehicle left you facing a loaded trim at a price you never intended to pay. The research got you to the lot. The lot did the rest. Because I've heard from buyers in the comments who swear their dealer was different, who say the transaction felt clean, the numbers made sense, the finance manager didn't pressure them. And maybe that's true. Maybe some stores are running a different playbook. But here's the question that's been sitting with me since I started pulling dealer complaint data from NHTSA and cross-referencing it with owner forum discussions. If a deal feels too clean, too fast, too easy at a Honda dealership in 2026, what did you not see? What was already baked into the price before you sat down? There's a specific trim level, not the base, not the top, where the margin engineering is most sophisticated and most invisible. Tell me in the comments which trim you bought, how long the deal took, and whether you walked out feeling like you won. Because I have a strong suspicion about what the data is going to show, and I want your experience to either confirm it or break it completely.